We're down to the last 16 in the Super High Roller. And when the stakes are raised, the bust-outs are always more severe. Eric Seidel is one player who's had his fair share of Super High Roller misery.
All right, good luck, kids.
Come on.
Ay-ya. Negreanu is a huge underdog here.
A 10 on the river!
Eric Seidel sent to the rail in horrific fashion.
Negreanu gets him again.
Action's been folded around to Eric Seidel, who is super short now. He's all in with Queen 8 suited. So Eric Seidel bubbles.
Big sigh for Seidel. Absolutely nothing.
Never feels good to bubble, so somebody's going to have that awful feeling.
But Barcelona could be Eric's lucky charm. His only EPT Super High Roller cash came at this event last year.
You can go broke pretty fast in these high rollers if you don't make some final tables.
The pressure is on, but when you've been making final tables for 25 years, fear is for your opponents. Once again, we brought the PokerStars.com EPT Super High Roller to the sun-drenched shores of Barcelona. 40 of Poker's Elite coughed up the €50,000 buy-in for their shot at the first title of Season 10. Now, down to the last 16, the final table is in sight, but only 7 players will receive a 6-figure payday. Last time, Vitaly Lunkin broke away from the pack after putting the hurt on Philip Sternheimer.
Not bad.
Last year's champ Dan Smith was sent to the rail.
Getting ready to tweet about your victory?
No.
And Donnie Stern made a late surge to take the chip lead with a string of knockouts. 24 down, 9 to go, and then we can draw a line under day 2 of the Super High.
Whoa. I think you mean 8 to go.
No, I mean 9.
Well, James, math isn't exactly my strong suit.
Agreed.
But there are 16 players left, and there are 8 seats at the final table.
Correct.
Thank you. Therefore...
But today we are playing down to the money, and only the top 7 will cash.
Well, then we need to lose 9 players.
Headlining the feature table today are the 2 tournament big stacks. Donnie Stern found himself in the last 16 in Monaco last season, but just fell short of the final table. He'll be looking to use his chip lead to make amends.
I mean, I'd say I'm probably a favorite to make the final table, obviously, at this point. Winning more tournaments is what I'm more interested in. You know, I want to be able to keep moving up and playing higher stakes.
Vitaly Lunkin is an old-school veteran of the game, but a new face on the EPT Super High Roller scene. Can he open his account with a final table appearance?
Only one place in poker, number 1. But it doesn't matter, you win or lose. You need to play right.
With so many experienced, familiar faces left in the competition, no one's fate is decided. While the last 16 have just redrawn for seats around the last 2 tables.
Sounds like we're all shifting over one. Yeah, 2 is...
And Eric Seidel is sharing a table with his super high roller nemesis.
What do you work out, 8 days a week?
Lately, I've been going like 7 days a week.
When you're home?
Yeah, when I'm home. Like I've basically been like rock climbing's been my main thing lately, and then go to the gym on the off days.
Yeah.
So
Rock climbing's a good workout.
it's so much fun. Just started a few months ago, but I'm loving it.
Love it, huh?
Yeah, it's so good.
Donnie Stern, not impressed.
Well, here comes one of the Germans.
Oh, sorry, I'll try to watch the crosstalk. I love the redraw. It's like the first day back at school for New Year. Same kids, different seating assignments. And if I had ended up with the desk directly behind Steve O'Dwyer's ponytail, I would have been pretty confused. More confused, I should say.
Well, at that table, the secondary table, 4 players have more than $1 million. The other half of the table have below average stacks. Liviu Ignat's playing fewer than 5 big blinds. On the main stage, at the main feature table, Stern and Lunkin are the big stacks. Gruesome and Seidel are short and sandwiched between them. Daniel Negreanu is also low on chips, with the blinds currently 6,000 and 12,000 with a 2,000 ante.
I gotta give the slight edge to table 2 here. What can I say? I like him young.
You mean you admire the play of the internet wizards?
Yeah, that too.
Action folded around to Vitaly Lunkin.
La da 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 da. Field board, still in. With chips too.
My son's name is also Philbort. Come along, Philbort.
Lunkin with ace-jack. Raises. Makes it 26,000. Pocket threes for Mike McDonald.
Yamo be there, pocket threes.
He calls. Negreanu in the cutoff. Has ace-8 suited.
He's got the death stare, I love it. Yeah, when he looks at you like that, raw. Right?
He has no idea what you're talking about.
Negreanu with ace-8 suited calls as well.
Wait, Negreanu just called. Danger! Playing big pots with hands that don't make very good top pairs is not always ideal when you can't often find a fold.
I like position. Position good. Cards good. Flop good. All good.
Oi.
Three-way to the flop, which is ace-high.
And this is what I was talking about.
Lunkin, top pair, strong kicker. Continues. He bets 50,000.
Should be a pretty easy fold for Mike. Daniel, on the other hand, might be in trouble.
McDonald does indeed fold. Negreanu
Okay, I'm thinking of a card.
calls.
9 of diamonds?
The turn card is the 7 of clubs, pairing the board.
Not a terrible card for Daniel. Big card on the river means they chop.
Lunkin slows down, he checks. And Negreanu checks behind.
Like the check by Lunkin.
Well, it's a small card on the river, so Lunkin's jack plays. He checks.
Don't like the check by Lunkin.
May have missed some value there.
You got it.
Yeah, the most obvious draw did get there on the river, but I think Daniel's turning up with a worse ace more often than 9-8. Nice check behind by Daniel, though.
And Lunkin is the new tournament chip leader as we head over to the secondary table. Action is on Olashemian. Ace-6 off in the cutoff, and he raises to 30,000. Steve O'Dwyer has a better ace on the button.
Don't want to do that again.
If Steve's playing this hand, he should probably 3-bet it because this hand plays pretty poorly in most situations.
He decides just to call.
Sir Watt's getting annoyingly decent pot odds for his hand.
He calls out of the big blind. Three-way to the flop. Deuce, tray 4 with 2 diamonds.
At first glance, it looks like Shemian and Steve O'Dwyer have the same gut shot, but far from it. Watson's got a total air ball.
Shemian was the pre-flop aggressor. Action has been checked to him, and he continues for 58,000.
Given this flop, Steve's probably going to peel at least one street. Allah's got a huge range, and ace-8 is ahead of it.
There's the call from O'Dwyer. And Mike Watson will fold his queen-9. Heads up to the turn, which is a 5. Both players with a straight. Shemian's is better.
That card is dirtier than most casino chips. Not the EPTs, of course. I know. I have to wash them after every stop.
Check, check on the turn. The board pairs on the river.
I really like Steve's check on the turn. Keeps the pot a little smaller in case he's beat, and it gives his opponent the chance to bluff the river. Although Allah is not bluffing.
He is value betting 129,000.
I think most players are pretty much snap calling here. A crying snap call, possibly. Steve knows he's losing to a 6 and lots of baby pocket pairs, and a flush draw just came in. Still, I don't see how he folds this.
He does fold. What a fold!
Excellent fold by O'Dwyer, though I think he thinks he's losing to a flush more often than a 6. Still, great fold.
Blinds up. 8,000, 16,000 with a 2,000 ante. Action at the main feature table on Vitaly Lunkin, looking down at pocket 10s.
Vitaly's tight, but I think he's going to raise this.
From mid-position, it's a min-raise to 32,000. Mike McDonald will pass. Negreanu's out. Shandor Demian on the button. He's not going to play. Donnie Stern gives up the small blind. 7-8 suited for Phil Grissom in the big blind.
Pretty easy pre-flop spot. Phil knows he's probably not ahead of Lunkin's tightish range, but that means if he hits with this hand, he might be able to scoop a nice pot.
He calls and pairs his 7, but it's top set for Lunkin.
Okay, that was implied odds. Now let me tell you a little bit about reverse implied odds. That's all the money Phil's gonna lose if he makes 2 pair or trips here.
He checks to Lunkin, who continues for 35,000.
It's a pretty small bet. Lunkin probably doesn't want to lose his customer, but we know Phil probably would have called more if he was calling anything.
Phil calls, and now has 2 pair on the turn.
That's not gonna be good for business.
He is officially drawing dead.
And it looks like he's gonna lead.
60,000.
Some folks are gonna raise here, and those folks are people you should make sure on the list for your home game. No need to raise here. Phil happens to have one of the few worst hands that can call and has no equity, but there aren't many.
Lunkin just calls. We go to the river, which is another 7. Both players now with a full house. Suffice to say, Gruesome has the losing house.
That card is a disaster for him. Almost no way he doesn't go broke here. Pardon the double negative.
He leads a second time, 110,000.
All in.
And Lunkin shoves on him.
And Gruesome hasn't snap called.
Well, Phil finds himself in a similar position to Philip Sternheimer earlier on day 2, facing a huge bet from Lunkin with an incredibly strong hand, but because of Lunkin's rock-like image, he fears it's not the best hand.
It's really not much more to call, but it's for his tournament life.
That might be a slow roll. Just to inform you, okay? Just checking. I only lose to 10s and the 8s.
9-10 of clubs also pretty strong here.
I call.
He calls, he had to call, and sees that Lunkin had one of those hands.
Brutal. Remember before what I was saying about reverse implied odds? That.
Phil Gruesome eliminated. Another German slain by Lunkin.
All right.
And Phil Gruesome's off to his happy place, which I bet closely resembles a bar.
Good luck, guys.
Got to give credit to Phil for actually thinking about that decision. Be honest, you snap call in his spot, right? Take your tweets, EPT. Barcelona, home to the breathtaking Sagrada Familia. Still under construction after more than 100 years, it was Antoni Gaudi's final hurrah. For the remaining players in the PokerStars.com EPT Barcelona Super High Roller, they'll have a little less time if they hope to finish building their stacks.
Wow, James, people give me a hard time about my jokes, but that was awesome.
Awkward metaphors for the win. At the secondary table, Fabian Quas is facing a 3-bet from Jason Mercier. Quas calls with the 8-9 suited. He does get to play the flop in position. He pairs his 8, but suffice to say, Jason Mercier's aces are still good.
Dangerous flop for both players. Jason's hand's susceptible. Fabian's hand could be costly.
88,000 is Mercier's C-bet.
This is a decent chunk of Jason's stack. He's looking to get it in on the turn, I bet.
Quas calls. The turn card is the 5 of diamonds.
Fabian picks up more outs. He's double gutted now.
On.
There is the shove from Jason.
I think Fabian pretty much has to call given the pot size. If he does call and he hits his straight, it'd be the end of Jason's tournament life as he knows it, like quassing the streams.
Fabian will fold.
Wow, that is a crazy fold. 13 outs, which will almost always be live, and sometimes he'd have the best hand already. I think the math wizards may have some issues with that one. Luckily, I'm not one of them.
14 players remain in the Super High Roller. Remember, only 7 of the 8 who make the final table will make the money. And the blinds are going up. We're now playing 10,000 and 20,000 with a 3,000 ante. Ace Queen for Mike McDonald. It's a raise from the cutoff. 40,000. Action on Donnie Stern in the big blind. King 9 off.
And this will be a fine defend against an aggressive opener, but just keep in mind when you try this at home, kids, that you're out of position. And put on some pants.
About 500, man. Pardon me?
About 500 behind?
550.
It's important to know that your opponent has enough chips to make it worth your while, and knowing is half the battle.
Stern defends. The flop is ace, jack 7, all hearts. Top pair for McDonald, the nut flush draw for Stern.
That is an action flop. Mike should continue. Yerp.
50,000.
And Donnie should call. Yerp.
We go to the turn. As we lose another Mike from the tournament, Mike Watson eliminated from the secondary table.
Oh no.
Well, that 10 gives both players straight draws. Stern checks a second time.
And it looks like Mike is in bet mode.
Sure enough, 125,000.
Mullen.
Whoa! Stern shoves!
The old semi-bluff shove. This is a grosser spot than the underside of your driver's seat. Yeah, we all know what you're doing at those red lights. Anyways, like I was saying, this is a gross spot, but on such a crazy draw-heavy board, I think calling is totally fine here. Donnie has a ton of chips, and I think that makes him more likely to be shoving draws. Mike, what does the stare down say?
McDonald is a 2-1 favorite. But he folds!
Folds the best hand, but Stern did have plenty of equity with one card to come. Who knows? Maybe that's the fold that will get Timex to the final table.
McDonald leaves himself with 375,000. Well, we just lost his fellow countryman Mike Watson from the secondary table. Another bust out. Juha Helppi out in 13th.
Help me! Help me!
Sent to the rail by the sleeveless vision in green that is Ola Shemian.
Nice work, sleeveless in Seattle.
Well, David Benefield will be moved to the secondary table to keep the two tables balanced. Now we're down to 12, two tables of 6.
David currently free-rolling the World Series of Poker main event in Las Vegas. He has to head back there in November. Plus, handsome for a man.
Well, at this point in the tournament, Vitaly Lunkin still leads. Stern and Shemian are the other two players with more than 2 million. These guys all have less than 500,000. Negreanu and Mercier, the two players in immediate danger. Back to the main stage. Actions on Eric Seidel. Pocket aces, must be nice.
Hello, nurse.
He raises from under the gun, makes it 40,000. Lunkin will pass. Mike McDonald also folds. Negreanu's out. Demian mucks. Donnie Stern has King-Jack suited.
Uh-oh.
And he bets enough to put Seidel all in.
Whoops.
Seidel, huge favorite to double up.
Donnie attempting what he thought was a re-steal.
Unbelievable! Stern flops Broadway.
How did you know?
I say that all the time. It's like they know.
Oh, spade, too. That's fun.
19 outs for Seidel.
Doesn't make it exciting. Deal it 3 times?
Huh? You want to run it? Yeah.
And that's one of them. Seidel rivers a flush.
Sweet, sweet justicey spade on the river.
Eric Seidel, affectionately known as the Cyborg, will move over the 18 million mark in live career earnings if he finishes 3rd or better in this event.
Is it really that affectionate?
Blinds are up again, and in this hand we will sweat with Steve O'Dwyer. He's facing a raise from Ola Shemian.
Sure, we can defend our button, probably ahead of Ola's range.
Calls 50,000 with ace-7. Jason Mercier folds the small blind. David Benefield in the big blind. He passes as well.
Benefield, good fold. I don't know what it was, but I'm feeling this hand.
Heads up to the flop, which is Jack 5 deuce with 2 spades.
Boy, that's not a very good flop, is it?
Shemian continues for 65,000.
If we were ahead of Ola's range before the flop, there's a good shot we're still ahead of it now. We can call here, but if the board doesn't improve for us, we're really hoping he just shuts it down.
O'Dwyer calls, 284,000 in the middle. And Steve does improve, an ace on the turn.
Hey, that's good. Unless Ola has an ace, because we're never folding now.
Shemian. Barreling by the looks of things.
We're kind of up a creek if he's got a bigger ace.
143,000.
But this is such a good card for him to keep barreling, we can almost never, ever fold.
O'Dwyer does call, 570,000 in the middle. 1 card to come.
Gulp.
And that card is the King of Clubs. Shemian is not slowing down by the looks of things. Remember, those red chips are worth 25,000 each.
Man, come on.
That is a bet of 750,000.
Well, great. This is for our tournament life, but we've put a lot of chips in the middle. We were ahead of all his range, but he's fired on 3 streets. We're one of the best poker players in the world, but we are wearing sleeves. Do we think Alla would triple barrel bluff us when it's pretty clear we've got something and not a lot of chips left to fold? Probably not. Ugh. I hate this.
Well, Steve's already made one big laydown today. And he's making another.
Yeah, I think that was a fold.
What did Shemian have? He shows a 6.
I forgot the board already. What was that? Was that anything? Was that beating us?
6-4, complete airball.
Sick bluff.
And Shemian's just taken the tournament chip lead. He's having an amazing 2013, 680k in live tournament earnings so far. Back to the main feature table. Action on Daniel Negreanu. And pretty quiet so far. Shandor Demian, former tournament chip leader, Queen 10 suited. He raises to 50,000. Pocket aces for Donnie Stern. It's a 3-bet to 115k. Lunkin folds the small blind. McDonald gives up the big blind.
How many?
Not very many. 65k. It's like 4 more chips.
Demian, out of position, calls. We go to the flop. King, Queen, Jack. Demian with a pair and a straight draw.
That's a pretty big piece.
And he shoves. Sticks in his remaining 426,000.
Nice idea, but he's getting called.
Sure enough. And Shandor Demian is at risk.
He's almost always going to get called there because this board smashes Donnie's re-raising range like Gallagher's Sledge-O-Matic.
Okay.
Demian looking for an ace, queen, or 9. He's got 8 outs. A jack on the turn, make that 6 outs. Only queens and 9s working for him.
Good luck.
Oh, he's out of here already.
I guess he knew the deuce was coming.
Yeah, man.
Luck. Thank you.
Gonna miss you, Shandor. You're good people. And even though the guy's a billionaire who likes to wear giveaway clothing, he's no cheapskate. Legend has it he donates money to charity equal to what he spends on poker.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
11 players remain. And Donnie Stern is now playing a stack of 2.2 million.
My name is Donnie Stern. I'm 26 years old, and I'm a professional poker player. I was on a reality show called 2 Months, 2 Million for the summer of 2009. The goal was for the 4 of us to combine to make $2 million playing online poker in 2 months. We didn't achieve the goal. It was, we came up about 1.3 million short. Winning more tournaments is what I'm more interested in. You know, I want to be able to keep moving up and playing higher stakes. You know, if I'm playing 10-20 online, I want to be able to play 25-50. If I'm playing 25-50, I want to give myself the opportunity to play 50-100. Money in poker allows you to play more poker, basically, and play for higher stakes. You know, I would like to win an EPT or a super high roller. I mean, I'd say I'm probably a favorite to make the final table, obviously, at this point. But, I mean, anything can happen. You know, Vitali covers me at the table, so, you know, one hand that could be it.
Just a reminder, folks, it's Donnie Stern, not Danny Stern. Donnie Stern. Even though he spells it with one N and an I, if it were an I with a heart over it and written on a 15-year-old girl's diary, that'd be Danny, but it's not. So it's Donnie. Action on Daniel. Sorry, I mean Daniel.
Negreanu has ace deuce. And he's all in for his last 310,000.
This is a very risky shove. It's one when you get called, you're going to be dominated a lot, like right here.
Seidel with ace 10.
See, even Eric expects him to be shoving better than this.
Giving it some consideration. When Eric's gone to battle against Daniel in super high roller tournaments, it hasn't always worked out for him. Well, he calls.
Daniel knows that can't be good.
Lunkin in the big blind. Will fold. Seidel tables the ace 10. Negreanu at risk, and behind.
I'll take a chop.
I bet you would.
How about that?
Okay, hearts? I got hearts, right? That's good for me. Okay, so just one more heart. That's all you gotta do. And the rest will take care of itself. I don't even care which one. 8 hearts, 9 hearts.
Well, if you get both, that's a chop.
Heart! That's what we need, y'all.
Well, Eric doesn't need one.
The turn is a spade.
Okay. Heart on the river.
Can't get it on the turn.
Okay. Good luck, everybody.
The tables are turned.
Better now than after the dinner break.
Eric Seidel eliminates Daniel Negreanu from a super high roller event.
For once.
And with Daniel's exit, we are down to 10. 2 tables of 5.
Look, Daniel's even got a guy to undress him. What a weirdo.
Seidel now up to 1.5 million. And another all-in. Jason Mercier has shoved with ace-9. He's been called by Tim Adams with ace-jack.
Mercier is dominated.
He flops a gut shot.
Drastic improvement.
Now is a flush draw.
The hits keep coming.
The river is a brick.
Enjoy, guys. Good luck.
Well, that was anticlimactic. It's like in the Dirty Dozen when all the heroes start dying off. WTH.
And with Jason Mercier's elimination in 10th place, we're down to 9. We're down to 1 table. Rack 'em again, guys.
Donnie Stern second in chips.
It's time for the final redraw of the tournament.
Tim Adams also in decent shape.
Not as good as Olashemian, the current chip leader with close to 3 million.
2 racks of high society and 2 tickets to the gun show.
We're down to just 9 players at Casino Barcelona for the PokerStars.com EPT Barcelona Super High Roller. The current chip leader, Olashemian, has so far been fearless. He's only 20 years old, but he's been showing even the most decorated of pros a trick or two.
It's either the most brilliant play or the most awful play ever. 20-year-old kid, you know, he's not really afraid of anything. He hasn't learned to be afraid. Yeah, getting bluffed by Ole. It's frustrating.
Not as frustrating as it's going to be to make the unofficial final table, then the official final table, then bubble.
Well, after that hand, O'Dwyer's been left as one of the short stacks heading into 9-handed play. Mike McDonald is the shortest stack. He's looking to make back-to-back Barcelona Super High Roller final tables, as is Eric Seidel. Blinding out 15,000 and 30,000 with a 4,000 ante. Action folded around to Vitaly Lunkin. He passes. Timothy Adams folds. Steve O'Dwyer has king 10 off.
All in.
And he shoves.
Couple of Broadway cards, short stack, late position, ship it.
Fabian Cross on the button, wakes up with kings.
Oh boy, terrible spot for Steve. This could cost him his seat at the final table.
Still 2 players to act after Cross.
I'm all in.
He reshoves. Seidel folds. Shemian's out. Steve gets the bad news.
Wonderful.
I'm not sure, but I think he's being sarcastic.
The flop has 2 10s on it.
Oh, he is so happy. Yeah, better cover that up.
And only has to fade 1 card. Cross can only win with the case king, and he's only got 1 more chance to hit it.
Sigh.
O'Dwyer doubles up.
417.
Jeez, all business, Steve.
417.
How about a little foreplay at least? Dang.
Unbelievable.
Gonna try to bubble the third one of these.
Well, I guess if Fabian wants to bubble, no one's gonna argue with him. You guys all cool with that? All right, cool.
Well, Cross is now the low man at the table with just 9 big blinds. We're 2 eliminations away from the money and drawing a line under day 2. Shemian and Benefield are in the blinds. Donnie Stern's under the gun, first to speak. He folds. Vitaly Lunkin Ace-8 suited.
Even 9-handed you can raise this, especially when you're second in chips and everyone's likely to be playing pretty tight in this situation.
So min raise to 60,000. Adams folds. O'Dwyer's out.
Well, this is going to fold around to the big blind, right?
I hope one of these guys proves you wrong.
Last chance.
Thank you, Ola Shemian, for waking up with 7s in the small blind.
And this is the one guy who can bust Lunkin.
Just calls.
No 3-bet because they're such huge stacks and you wouldn't expect to be ahead of Lunkin raising so early all that often.
Benefield folds the big blind. We're going heads up to the flop. Lunkin with the advantage of position, but doesn't connect with the flop. Shemian's 7s are still good.
See if Lunkin continues.
Shemian has checked to him.
Only one club out there.
Here comes the C-bet from Lunkin, 80,000.
Looks like Shemian's gonna peel.
He calls.
Really hoping Lunkin shuts down.
4 of spades on the turn. Shemian checks a second time.
And he does shut down.
Lunkin checks behind. Queen on the river, pairing the board. And it's the Queen of Hearts, bringing a potential flush. But Shemian's happy to bet 35,000.
Little blocker bet there. Shemian's betting small to prevent having to make a decision when Lunkin bets into him.
I know what Lunkin's thinking. It's such an annoying bet. He calls.
Turns out it was a blocker bet and a value bet since Lunkin paid him off with ace high.
Look at Shemian's cheeky smirk.
I mean, you can see why Lunkin paid him off. It was 10% of the pot. Practically free.
Too cheap.
50 I fold. Huh? 50 I fold.
I can imagine.
Translation, why do you think I made it 35? Team no sleeves.
Shemian consolidates his chip lead. Vitaly Lunkin lost a small pot there, but is still well in the hunt for this super high roller title.
Меня зовут Виталий Лункин. Мне 27 лет. Я 71-го года рождения. Чувствую себя великолепно. Каждый шестой турнир, если длинные турниры брать, мега, турниры, каждый шестой примерно попадание в кэш, статистика. И поэтому, наверное, более глубокой структурой мне более комфортно играть. То есть там, где больше возможностей подумать, где больше розыгрышей. Я просто чувствовал силы, что я могу выиграть этот турнир. Как-то такое было ощущение. В принципе, это мои вторые хайроллеры в жизни. Я первые сыграл, первые выиграл, сейчас играю вторые. И посмотрим, что из этого получится. Просто я чувствую свою уверенность и...
Vitaly's talking about the 40K WSOP event from a few years back, and the way the story goes, he was a bit of a lunk box.
Blind still 15-30. Action on Tim Adams. He folds. Steve O'Dwyer's out. Mike McDonald has just 10 big blinds, pocket 6s.
All in.
He shoves. Fabian Cross, Eric Seidel, Ola Shemian all fold. David Benefield's got 9s.
Well, we know he's ahead, but on a final table bubble like this, people play tighter than Keith Moon's drum kit.
Benefield's got nearly 800,000. He folds!
Tight.
Donnie Stern, King Jack in the small blind.
Same joke, only now with Neil Peart.
Well, Stern's got 1.6 million.
He can afford this call a little more.
He folds. Vitaly Lunkin has ace-5 suited. He's got 2.4 million. And he folds.
I was rooting for Vitaly to go like this. And then
Yeah.
that would have been the greatest.
We'd be chopping unless he made a flush.
Don't worry, Mike. I know what it's like when a joke bombs. At least you won the hand.
The awkward moment when nobody laughs.
I don't know. Let's see.
This one's gonna be tough.
It's in Monaco. Everyone's dressed in, suits.
Jeez, there are probably hundreds.
And I'd gotten this new pair of shorts, half a size too small or something like that.
Getting bluffed by Ole a few minutes ago is pretty embarrassing. Anytime you make a mistake, it's embarrassing.
I got rivered, and I wasn't happy about it.
Sat down at the table,
and my shorts just completely ripped.
And I sort of had all these chips in front of me, and I just kind of went, "Ugh!" And chips flew everywhere. Production had to stop. Everyone was like, what the hell?
Walk out of the room trying to like hide the fact that my shorts were ripped off.
And then I just started like laughing to myself because I realized how loony that was.
That's probably the most embarrassing.
For me, my most embarrassing moment was this one time in Monaco where I couldn't look away from Michael McDonald's split shorts. He was magnificent.
Blinds up to 20,000, 40,000 with a 5,000 ante. Action on Vitaly Lunkin. He folds. Timothy Adams passes. O'Dwyer, not interested. Mike McDonald has ace-king.
Well, this is a raise.
Faux show. He makes it 80,000. Fabian cross folds. Eric Seidel's got ace-jack on the button.
Seidel might be looking to 3-bet what he perceives to be a wide hijack range. Not sure he'd do that if he knew what people have been folding.
550.
People have been playing tighter than a nun's schedule. Can't keep God waiting.
The word is schedule. Seidel 3-bets to 175,000. Action back on McDonald.
Mike McDonald and those dreamboat eyes are going nowhere. And how?
Seems like an obvious spot to request the red triangle.
What do you think of that stare down, Seidel? Huh? You like it? You like that stare down?
On.
He shoves. And Seidel has to call.
He's got an inkling.
McDonald a 72% favorite to double up here through Seidel.
Good news, Eric, you can't go broke. Better news, you can still suck out.
The flop is king high. Seidel with a gut shot. Needs a 10 to make a straight. The turn card is a 6, changes nothing. 4 cards in the deck that McDonald has to fade to survive.
Mike's in great shape. He's also ahead in the hand.
A jack on the river. McDonald gets the double up. And we are still 9-handed. Find out how you can get live updates during the European Poker Tour by going to PokerStars.com. We still have 9 players at the PokerStars.com EPT Barcelona Super High Roller.
When I was running over, I ripped open my pants.
Yeah, get an eyeful, I did. That's right, yep.
Yeah, there's a huge hole in my crotch area now.
I don't know why this keeps coming up.
Thanks for sharing that, Donnie.
Great, now we're gonna sweat with Donnie. Today's show is taking a serious turn.
We'll only see Donnie Stern's hole cards here. We've got an under-the-gun raise from Mike McDonald. He makes it 90,000. Action folded around to Stern. Ace-queen in the cutoff.
Well, I like our hand. We're probably ahead of Mike's range. We've got him covered. I say just ship it in. Let God sort him out. Kidding. Can you imagine? We're both too deep to get in before the flop, and we don't want to get 4-bet.
Stern just calls.
We want to play our strong hand, but we don't want to go broke if we don't have to.
Everyone else folds, so we're going heads up to the flop. And we do have the advantage of position. The flop is 7-5-3 with 2 diamonds. Not the best flop in the world for ace-queen.
We could have the best hand, though, and Mike's likely to bet all of his air.
The continuation bet is 125,000.
I think we got to stick around for at least one more street.
Stern has come to the same conclusion. He calls.
An ace or a queen would be nice.
The turn card is an ace. Bingo!
Now we really could have the best hand. Boy, oh boy, I hope we crack kings. Sorry, Mike, no offense.
McDonald not slowing down. He barrels 225,000.
And again, I think this is a pretty easy call for us. Mike would have to keep firing on this ace turn with all of his air hands as well. Oh, Philip Sternheimer's back. Probably anti-railing the guy who busted him. It's cool, man. We all do it.
Stern has counted out the call. And he makes the call.
Two fairly easy calls so far, but make no mistake, we don't really want to face another bet on the river.
The river card is the 9 of clubs.
We are now in quite a rough spot if Mike bets.
He is not checking, he is betting 450,000.
The reason this is such a tough spot is because Mike knows Donnie doesn't have to have an ace here, so he's going to triple barrel bluff a lot. But he knows we pretty much have to call with a lot of hands because of that, so this is a total mind bleep.
I call.
I agree, call.
McDonald tables ace-king.
No! No!
Donnie Stern did 60% of his chips in that hand. He is now the short stack.
Gall darn it all to heck. You can go straight to heck with the top of your range, Mike McDonald.
Nice little comeback there.
Yeah, it's been good so far. Jeez.
Horse nonsense. Straight to heck.
And Mike McDonald, the youngest ever EPT main event champion, is now third in chips.
Well, I think at this stage, Mike obviously is close to the chip lead. As a poker player, I'm a little bit superstitious. Maybe it's false pattern recognition, but I've seen some events where people came back and doubled up from a very, very short stack to win the event. Mike was down to, I think, 100, 150K, doubled up several times, so the momentum is on his side. He's probably one of the best players to know shoving ranges, and that will play to his advantage if the bubble period extends for a long period of time.
What an eloquent answer. Is that guy on the payroll or what? Should I be worried?
Blinds up, 25 and 50,000. Fabian Cross folds, as does Eric Seidel. Shemian's out. Benefield mucks. Ace queen for the short stack Donnie Stern.
This is a shove, and you're generally not too mad at it. Hurry up, David is exhausted.
I'm all in.
Here we go.
475. 475.
Ace 9 for Lunkin. Thinking about it.
Lunkin is tanking.
He folds. Oh, kings for Adams.
Yeah, boy.
All in.
He reshoves. The blinds fold. And Donnie Stern, the former chip leader, is now at risk and a huge underdog.
This is the worst thing to happen to a Donnie since the New Kids on the Block broke up.
10-6-4. Stern looking for an ace. He needs to hit on the river. 2 outs. He's out.
What an absolutely sickening spot to finish in.
First the shorts disaster, and now this.
Well, Donnie, we know it really sucks to go out here, so I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put this graphic up so nobody sees any of your backdoor outs.
Well, we now have the official final table, but our ambition is to play down to the money today, even though it's late. And only 7 players will cash in this tournament. Pocket 8s for Timothy Adams.
Tim can raise here or open shove, but I don't think he's ever getting away from it.
He raises to 100,000. Fabian Cross folds the button. Eric Seidel in the small blind has ace-king.
Oh, Tim Zero Thea, I hope you've got some nice trainers on because you are about to be racing on a massive bubble.
Oh.
Seidel shoves. Shemian folds the big blind. Action's back on Adams. He calls. Seidel, the player at risk, and a marginal underdog. And Seidel has bubbled a super high roller before. He does flop a gut shot. Aces, kings, and queens all working for him.
That's a lot of outs.
6 on the turn, changes nothing. It's a king! Seidel survives.
Much like the era he grew up in, Eric Seidel is staying alive.
I don't really want to go to sleep.
And staying up past his bedtime. Oh, Shemian only a couple years away from the last time he had a parentally assigned bedtime.
Well, the tournament staff have just announced that this will be the last hand of the night because we've been playing for so long. If we don't lose a player, we will come back 8-handed for day 3. Action on Mike McDonald. King Queen suited. Min raise to 100,000. Olashemian on the button. As King 7 offsuit. What's he thinking about?
Something weird. Well, Mike's not the one who split his shorts. Oh, wait. He's talking about the old big stack bluff 3-bet on the bubble routine, eh? It's a good one. It's going to work a lot.
Shemian 3 bets. He makes it 235,000.
Unfortunately, Mike's got a hand that is perfect for just calling with, and he's also got Shemian dominated.
Mike will have to play the flop out of position. But he calls. And we go to the flop. Which is 9-8 deuce with 2 spades. McDonald checks.
And it looks like Shemian's going to continue with air.
He continues for 190,000.
And this proves that he probably would bet all of his air here. So what does Timex do with slightly better air? Post stare down, I mean, obviously.
McDonald check raises to 425,000.
A move like this is mostly going to fold out worse hands, but with just king high, you're probably okay with that. Unless Shemian decides to get real weird.
No, he lets it go.
I actually think maybe Shemian could have checked that flop. When he bets, he's repping in the range of queens plus, and his range is way wider than that. Am I right?
So Mike McDonald wins the last hand of the night. That will conclude play for the day. We are still on the bubble. 8 players will return for day 3, but remember, only 7 of those guys will get paid.
Mike McDonald has made quite the comeback, and Eric Seidel survived by the skin of his teeth, winning that race there at the end.
But the man to beat, the current chip leader, and the favorite to win this tournament is the uber-aggressive 20-year-old Olashemian. He's got a stack of 2.8 million, so he leads. Timothy Adams is the short stack, and big props to Eric Seidel and Mike McDonald. Both these guys have made back-to-back final tables in this event, the EPT Barcelona Super High Roller.
This whole term I've been running really good. I've gotten all in 6 times. I've won all 6 all-ins. Tomorrow everyone's going to be really short stacked, so probably just stick with this whole winning all-in strategy.
Next time, the money is in sight as the final 8 do battle.
All in.
All in. Come on. That's a good hand. I call. Oh.
One will leave with nothing.
Hopefully this is my time.
It would be nice to win. I could walk around with my nose a little bit higher than it already is.
It's obviously very nice to make the final table and just hoping for the best.
One will walk away with more than €750,000 and the first title of EPT 10.